Now we kick off the Bloomberg West Bubble 2.0 series, where we'll look at then and now of internet mania. Let's bring in our editor-at-large, Cory Johnson, who remembers it all because he was there and has more perspective. Cory?
Yeah, Emily, there are a few things I'd probably like to forget from the dot-com bubble, but not in my days as editor-at-large of the Industry Standard. The magazine was a great and a unique vantage point to witness the inner workings of what was going on in the bubble, and it was the best place to party like it was 1999. This was the site of the hottest party in the dot-com bubble, a jam-packed tiny rooftop in downtown San Francisco.
Well, it started as beer and chips on the roof for the staff, and then it just got totally out of hand.
The rooftop parties for the Industry Standard magazine, a bubble-era frenzy just to get near the dot-com epicenter. The Industry Standard was the dot-com Bible, selling more ad pages in 1999 than any magazine in the history of publishing.
The fax machine would be sort of overflowing with insertion orders from advertisers that we had never even heard of. We had lines around the block, thousands of people trying to come to an after-work chips and beer. I mean, that's a frenzy.
It wasn't just dot-coms. The broader economy was booming. Housing was surging. Unemployment near an all-time low.
The city was just crazy. I mean, new restaurants everywhere. You couldn't get an apartment. You couldn't rent an office space. So there was that downside of it, but there was also a lot of excitement, a lot of palpable excitement on the street.
There was a sense that anything was possible. Old rules didn't apply. There was a new way to work. But as Warren Buffett says, innovators eventually lead to imitators and idiots. So innovators like Netscape rose 250%. Cisco rose 700%, inspiring imitators. WorldCom was now a dot-com, Enron a broadband play. We know how that ended. And then there were the idiots. Pet food online, groceries online, B2B, clicks and mortar, big ideas the nascent dial-up internet couldn't support, even with the big bucks raised on Wall Street.
I think the big thing that it imprinted on people's mind is internet businesses don't work, right? Like it was like none of them worked. We invested all this money and they all failed.
But is it possible that things are different this time? Broadband usage sure is different. In 1999, 900,000 U.S. households had broadband. Today, it's 85 million. Worldwide, 2 billion.
What's really changed are the dynamics that made those businesses not work.
Another dynamic, cheap, quick development tools from Salesforce and Amazon Web Services.
The difference in the market and the difference in the cost is dramatic, and as a result, what we're seeing is these new businesses really working on the internet and getting to massive scale, but people still have the old financial assumptions, and they're missing it.
When people talk about bubble, I think they're often talking about IPOs. But as you can see from that piece, the global economy was already cooking. Easy money from an accommodative Federal Reserve, the peace dividend, remember that, and dot-coms were just adding fuel to that fire. Emily?
Cory, when I hear these stories, I'm always so curious about what these people are up to now. I know Julie Wainwright, the former Pets.com CEO, will be on later in the show. She's working on a new startup. What is Jonathan Weber doing now?
Yeah, so he's editing this thing called The Bay Citizen here in San Francisco, which is a partner of the New York Times. It's providing a new model for internet-based, really strong investigative journalism. So here he is, strangely, 10 years later, running a very successful nonprofit .com.